Alright everybody, we've got another impossible. Devadatta came by, so let's take a look at this quest. Now, of course, bringing monsters with both gravity barrier and damage wall will help you stay safe. Of course, you need to plan out your moves very carefully. Now, as you see, the mini boss here has turned transparent, so you can just go by him and he won't come back until you defeat all of the Lotus Leaves. So the first two moves, as you can see, you want to pinch out those specters, and that's basically your goal for to start any level. Make sure you take out those specters because they do a good amount of damage and you don't want to deal with that. Otherwise, afterwards you want to go for the weak points. The weak points of those Lotus Leaves are the only way you're going to deal damage to them. Well, you can do it in other ways, but it's not going to happen. Or very little at a time. And once you clear the Lotuses, the mini boss will come back to normal form. But as you can see, the HP is linked to the boss, so that's why Harley Transcended is awesome here, since she is a weak point slayer. So she can do major damage. The downside is she doesn't have gravity barrier, so unless you're really up against that weak point, you're not gonna be able to move around as well. That's why I also have Akala and Dory here, because they can move very freely in the stage because they have the awesome double ability of gravity barrier and damage wall. And we've got let's see, this is Rembrandt, and I do believe Rembrandt also has the double abilities on her. So basically we don't have to worry about damage walls at all, and we are hoping that Harley can be in a position to deal a lot of damage, and hopefully she's in perfect position for those weak points to deal the damage she needs to do. Now, of course, Rembrandt with that speed up will be super helpful to get into position, and maybe if you're just not sure, just pray on that speed up so that you eventually hit that weak point. You got a little bit unlucky there with the irregular bounce, but looked like it worked in the end. Got rid of the top right, and the bottom Lotus is just one hit away from saying goodbye. Actually a pretty difficult angle for Rembrandt there, but now that we've cleared off all of the Lotus Leaves, Devadatta comes back into form, and now we can start dealing damage. And yeah, Harley was able to get in there, get a few punches on the weak point, and we should be able to call it a day for this round. Now, of course, if you have the luxury to position yourself, if you have this team, for example, you want to try to position Harley as perfectly as possible. Remember, she doesn't have gravity barrier, so if you have her, you just want to try and position her so that she has quick access to that weak point. Now, I'm trying to get in between those specters. Unfortunately, it was a little difficult, but hey, we got lucky with Akala's flare there, so we don't have to worry about the Oni. Although, I don't know, was he going to attack anyway on that turn? Anyways, Rembrandt, perfect position to get the pinch, so we get rid of those specters. We're going to see if we can get Harley in there. Not from the left, but from the right, maybe we'll go around. Bingo! Oh, so good. And now we just have to worry about the Oni, which actually is not too bad. He does pack a pretty good punch, so make sure you do pay attention to your HP. And if you do happen to leave those specters out, they do fire a 3-prong laser out. And chances of you getting hit by that is actually pretty high, so make sure you do take keep a close eye on your HP. And because Dory has such a low cooldown for a strike shot, why not? And maybe that was a bad idea because it did put her right up against the Oni, but I did know that heart was gonna turn gold, so nah. Alright, and that's the big thing, don't forget out your monsters that have low cooldowns. If you can use it, use it. And Harley. Now, don't forget that the shield around those Lotus on the bottom left and the top right, it does have a pretty big I don't know, hitbox, bigger than it kind of looks like. Unfortunately, Harley just got stuck by the gravity barriers and the wall, so I mean, it meant nothing. But we do want to try and take out the Oni to reduce any extra damage that we don't need to take. And just, make sure you keep in mind that big cooldown for Devadatta. If you wait too long, it's going to hurt. So take things in stride. You also want to make sure that you take, don't forget that you have to spend a turn breaking the shield for those 2 Lotus Leaves before you can even touch Devadatta. Now, if you're ever in a position to deal major damage, for example with Harley, using a strike shot is certainly possible. Again, you really do want to save it for the boss, and if you actually get lucky position wise, you can skip some bars pretty easily with Harley. So if somebody has her on your friend list the next time Devadatta comes around, highly recommend her. She was definitely the MVP of this party here. But again, the important part is, since the HP of the Lotus Leaves are linked, as long as you can get that constant damage off on the Lotus Leaves, you can actually minimize Devadatta's HP to a very small number. Actually, I was probably hoping to stall so that Harley gets her turn, but I don't know. Guess I put a little too big of an angle. But anyways, HP's low. I can go for the weak point off the wall. 1 bounce probably. Yeah. And of course, that's all you need. 1 bounce. Alright. Boss time. 42 turns for the speed clear. So let's take a look at the bar color. Yes, we have 4 stages to go through. Now, Harley is in a perfect position. However, Rembrandt is right on top of her too, and Rembrandt goes first. So the chances that she's gonna dislodge Harley is probably pretty high. Of course, you want to take down the wolves because, last thing you want to deal with is being attacked down. You want to be able to deal as much damage to the Lotus Leaves as possible, because I guess the easiest way to lose on Devadatta here is that once you kill all of the Lotus Leaves, he goes into a rage mode, and then you have 3 turns to kill him. 3? Maybe it was 4, but it is a small number, and that is really unfortunate. Bouncing off without dealing any damage to that bottom Lotus. Really unfortunate. So a little bit concerning here. We should see, yeah, that top number is gonna start pulsing, and Devadatta fires off a lock-on one-way laser, and I believe with this party, as long as it didn't hit my dark monsters, you can survive it on full HP. But if it hits a dark monster, you're dead for sure, no questions asked. So if it hit the Dory or Rembrandt, you were alive. Now, I was hoping to get a little bit more damage. I guess I should have gone horizontal here, but yeah, this was a really bad way to use Rembrandt's strike shot. As you can see, that top number is the death counter, so it is now down to 3. But luckily, he does move to the wall, so if you can get the pinch, you can do major damage like that right away. 10 million. So luckily it was Harley's turn and the weak point was on the wall. Probably would not have made it otherwise. And kind of got lucky here. As you can see, I completely skipped this stage. Right? And I was wondering what happened here. Like, is this a bug? But I guess you still have to make a move. So, I don't know. But did enough overkill that we completely skipped this stage. The percentage damage from, I don't know if it's Harley or Rembrandt that did that, but got super lucky. Super lucky. Dory, of course, in a perfect position as well, dealing enough damage so that we're already at 50%, done, after the first turn. That's amazing. And so the what, Dogu on the bottom left, you don't want to be stuck in there. He is basically a scorpion. So now unfortunately Harley's probably not going to move too far. 2 sets of gravity barriers. Again, because of that lucky hit on the wall. No, skilled shot on the wall there. Now that we've taken care of all of the lotuses, look at that. We've got, this should be an easy 3 turns. And again, you know, Devadatta is nice enough to go to the wall. Luckily, Dory is right at the weak point, and yeah, there's no need to use a strike shot, especially with the speed up. And I mean, we're pretty much safe for this round. Luckily, you know, nice enough for a Lotus Leaf to come down. Should be able to deal damage that way if you get lucky position-wise, but actually maybe it would have been better to try and get that pinch on the bottom, because that does put the next character in a great position if you clear out the Lotus Leaves quickly. But we want to take out the Spectres right away. Luckily got the pinch. I'm pretty sure I forgot that Harley didn't have gravity barrier there, so got a little cocky trying to bump the weak point a few times before going to the end, but luckily it worked out. But yeah, again, the Oni does do a good amount of damage. As you saw, the Spectre does that prong attack that always hurts. Kind of sad I didn't get that pinch there. Maybe I should have gone to the right instead to do a wall pinch against the Spectre, but if I remember correctly, the Spectre will fire. Oh, as you can see, it does fire off the gauge breaker attack. So, you know, on top of that, you know, powerful attack, you just don't want to deal with that crazy gauge, right? You brought these monsters for safety, so, you know, let's make sure that they're there. Now, I should have used my strike shot here, right? I had access to the weak point, could have done a lot of damage that way because the HP is linked. So, that's okay. Because Rembrandt is in a perfect position. She is going to get a turn before that crazy countdown happens, but I guess... maybe I panicked there, right? The number's pulsing, but... on the other hand, once you put him into rage mode, a clone comes up on top, and it's kind of like floor, what, 30 of the Tower of Champions, where you can deal damage to both. I guess the only difference is you can actually deal full damage to the real version on the bottom. Now, I'm not sure what I tried to do here. I guess I was but luckily the weak point is in the perfect position for Akala here. He does fire a laser in both directions, so ignore that I missed the gauge. But since it's perfectly horizontal to Akala, I was able to use that strike shot to deal major damage, and awesome first clear of Devadatta. Now, as you see, you can bring Akala and Dory here. They were pretty awesome. They clearly had their uses and probably used them to their full potential, to be honest. Harley is great for this stage, so if you don't have her, hopefully somebody on your friends list does. And, you know, having that double ability, that safety to move around freely is super awesome. Alright, thank you for watching. That was Devadatta. The new series for, what was it, here? I don't know. There's a new series out anyway, so those videos should be coming up next. So, until then, bye-bye.